Hey there, it's Jordan. Welcome into Peterborough Conversations, episode 4. I'm pleased to be joined here by Michaela Hetherington. She's a singer-songwriter, also a teacher here as well.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff and very busy. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
I was driving with my daughter, who's 5 years old, and she wants to do everything. She wants to be a doctor. She wants to be a firefighter. She wants to do everything.
Yeah.
And the one thing recently, she said she wants to be a singer. So I said, perfect. I'm doing an interview. What question would you want me to ask? How do you write a song?
Oh my goodness. How do you write a song? What a way to start
Let's just go
off.
right. This is the thing. I go right into it.
Yeah. So I believe, it's different for everyone. Everyone's craft and, approach to the creative realm is different. But for me, I usually will get some kind of inspiration, whether it be a word or a conversation I've had or something that's happened in my life. And I'll take that little bit of truth, I call it, and I'll try to embed that into a bigger story. So I usually get lyrics first, and I'll just kind of jot that down, and then I'll leave it for a bit. I've definitely been in the position where, you sit down and you really want to write something. You're like, I want to write a song today. Those aren't the days you get good songs.
Right, yeah.
The days you get good songs are, when you've had a long day at work, you're coming home and you're cleaning the kitchen and something just kind of pops into your head, and that's when you kind of have to go for it. And sometimes it's not convenient timing, honestly. But yeah, so for me, I'll kind of let that lead, that little bit of inspiration, and then sometimes the whole song will just come to you, and it's a whole lot of truth and a whole lot of bits and pieces from your own life, and sometimes it's a little inspiration from your own life, and then you kind of build onto that.
What would be an example of something that maybe was small but led on to a bigger thing for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually have a song that I'm going to be working on in the next couple of months, hoping to get out there soon. It's called Trouble. And let's just say I went through a little bit of an interesting relationship at one point, and little bits of truth kind of came out, and I was like, ooh, that's a really good limerick, or ooh, that's a really good line. And it kind of turned into something a little bit bigger. I don't want to give away the whole song, but obviously I haven't been married yet, but it kind of turned into this little bit of a tale. So it started off with my little bit of a truth, and then it kind of went into something a little different. So you'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see.
That's awesome. At what age did you think, like, okay, I want to perform?
Yeah, so I think around 12, I decided, well, I had to be just like my mother. So I had to learn how to play the guitar. And from there, Taylor Swift was really big at that time, right?
Sure.
Like that was kind of her like prime, like 17 years old, saw her perform in the CMAs for the very first time. So I was like, this is where it's at. I got to do this. So, I taught myself the best that I could. I started writing some things down and getting some inspiration. And my parents were super supportive of that as well. So my sister and I actually started singing around town. I think I was 13 and she was 11. And we had a lot of really, really amazing opportunities presented to us from members of the community, and especially in high school as well. So
solve for me the Taylor Swift thing. Yeah. Obviously the biggest entertainment star probably that I've even ever been around for. I mean, huge. Some people would talk about Elvis and the Beatles. Obviously we're not around there, but what is it about her that has allowed herself to be so successful in so many different genres of entertainment too?
It's true. For me, I think it's just that authenticity, and some people, I'm sure, they have their opinions on Taylor Swift, and her, way about things isn't for everyone. But for me, it's just that authenticity, right? Like she really puts her whole heart and soul into her lyrics, and they're catchy, right? Like, we're driving along in the minivan, the whole fam, and we got Taylor Swift's original CD on, and it's easy to harmonize to. You can pick up on the lyrics, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say, oh, it just feels good, but for me, it just kind of, her stuff feels good. As far as transitioning from country to pop and, transcending all these different genres, I just think it takes a really special person to be able to do that, and a strong person as well. So I don't know if I could solve the mystery of Taylor Swift for you. Oh, there I go.
We'll get her name right.
Yeah, we will get her name right. So I don't know if I could fully sum that up for you. But for me, it's just her authenticity for sure.
Who are some of your other favorites?
Yeah, so I love Randy Travis. Alan Jackson. I'm a big Morgan Wallen fan. I really am. Zach Bryan.
Last Night by Morgan Wallen. Yeah. It's probably my favorite song of the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's really catchy. Again, another one that's just catchy. It kind of gets stuck in your head a little bit. Yeah. That's what you want. You want your song stuck in someone's head for sure.
No doubt. I know you threw Alan Jackson out
Yeah.
there. I'm a big Alan Jackson fan.
Love Alan Jackson.
He's so awesome.
So growing up, we always had, I would say it was either Randy Travis or Alan Jackson playing. Again, I bring the minivan up. That was clearly a very big part of the family. So we'd get in and we'd either have some old school Randy Travis or we would have Alan Jackson playing. And yeah, that's a very vivid memory for me.
How do you find from when you started performing and you were 12 and 13?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you've grown in leaps and bounds probably as a show person and being able to present to audiences, but how do you feel as a musician you've evolved, say, in the last 5-10 years?
Yeah, well, I've learned to chill out a little bit.
I was definitely high strung. Yeah.
I was ready to go, and it had to be perfect. And if there was the slight thing that went wrong, or maybe you missed a lyric or missed a chord, it was pretty much the end of the world.
Yeah.
Especially when you're 13, 14. But now, as I'm a teacher myself, and I'm trying to pass on my knowledge to the next generation, if you will, it's just be kind to yourself. You're not going to perform perfectly every single time you get on stage. For me, it's more about how do you recover from it and how do you handle it with grace and professionalism so that it doesn't stick out as much as you think that it does.
I saw an interview with Gene Simmons where he was talking about this, where he's like, most people in the audience don't know if you miss a chord.
They don't.
You just got to act like, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Wrong and strong. I told my students that in theater sometimes. Wrong and strong and fake it till you make it. So definitely trying to put that into play more.
Talk to me a little bit about being a teacher, but also being someone who is actively still a performer. Like that's, like you said, that's like the Canadian dream you're doing right there.
It really is the dream. It's very interesting. I've been super lucky to be able to, get some jobs that have put me right back on the stage in a different way, kind of more from a directing point of view. So musical theater, dance, some music. And it's been really interesting being the person on the other side of the stage. It's a whole different kind of nerves, honestly. I think it's worse. I think it's worse being the person that just has to wait and trust that everything goes okay rather than being on the stage. But yeah, I'm still finding that balance between, putting my time and my energy into my own craft and my own work, because it's very important to me that, I sing and perform and get out there as much as I can, but also giving that same time and dedication to my students as well, because we need artists and we need musicians and performers. Like it doesn't stop with you or me, like it needs to keep going, right? So finding that balance between being active in the community for myself and providing opportunities for my students as well, I'm still learning that.
What about the Peterborough music scene? Like this I hear all the time. We'll talk about Peterborough Performs coming up here, but it appears there's something in the water. Like there's a lot of great talent, right?
There is. I've always said, and I kind of snicker when I say it, but everybody in Peterborough is a singer-songwriter, right? I mean, that's great. That's awesome. Like the more the merrier. But there is something in the water here. And you know what? Like, again, the more the merrier. Like if I can help inspire a couple of students to, get up on stage that haven't been on stage before, or just, connect them with venues downtown or events that maybe I was given when I was in high school, then that's really important to me and very special to me.
Peterborough Performs. You're going to be taking the stage for a great cause. How did this come to be?
Yeah, so I used to work with Paul Rellinger, and one day he comes up to me and he goes, "You can sing?" He goes, "Why didn't I know this? You can sing?" I was like, yes, Paul, I can sing, and I can sing fairly well if I do say so myself. So I believe it was 2 years ago. This will be my third time performing at this event. So yeah, I got involved. I believe I performed the last 2 years in the, I think it's the Nexicom Lounge.
Downstairs.
Yeah, downstairs. Yeah, so that's where I'll be again this year. And, it's just all about who you know. Like, who knew that my, buddy at my grocery store job would lead to a wonderful opportunity to perform and for a great cause as well.
Awesome. You sort of told us that you're working on one song.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about if people want to check you out? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, for sure. So again, I'm working on finding that balance between performing myself and teaching. But the goal for this spring, this summer, is I'd like to get a couple of songs on the go. So definitely keep your ears and your eyes open and ready for that. If you want to find me on social media, you can just search up Michaela Hetherington on Facebook and Instagram, as well as Spotify and Apple Music.
Michaela, thank you so much for being a guest on Peterborough Conversations, episode 4.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
If you enjoy the content, please do yourself a favor and click the subscribe button now.